Well, it got about 4 or 5 feet out at the corner, which blocked everybody, from coming in for, I think we were out for 23 days, something like that. And then it went down and we were able to drive in for a couple of weeks. Then it came back up and got around 2.5, 3 foot out there. And that put us out for another 15 days. And last year we had 4 floods. 2 of those got up in the yard and over here. The other 2 were a little lower. And like in '93, the water level was up to the top roof here.
I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah, so it just about filled the inside up.
Mm-hmm.
And after we got in here, we figured we'd have to tear all the sheetrock and stuff out, because we had to do that over in the house where it got in there.
Right.
And this didn't even get soggy after the water went down.
It's plaster.
That old gypsum board, I guess, and
Yeah.
the old time stuff, and it withstood that '93 flood, being underwater for, well, the bottom of it was underwater for a month or so.
How far into your basement did it come this time? Or did it get into the basement?
Well, the last part that just got 3 foot down there in the corner didn't get in the yard, but the first one was probably, I don't know, 3 foot or better in there. I had 3 foot in the driveway. I went out and had an old Dodge Ram sitting there under that tree, and the day that I went out there, the water was up to the axles, and I had to put air in the tires, and got my air pump out there and compressor and filled the tires up. Drove it over here and cut that little chunk there and drove it up the hill to keep it out of the water. We usually canoe around the corner. Well, if it's not too awful bad, we got a good path up there that we can walk along the edge of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets up past about 3 foot or so. We can canoe around the corner easier than walking the path.
Right.
So we do that quite a bit.
Yeah.
In that '93 flood, my little girl was 4 years old. My wife was working and getting off at midnight, so I'd get my daughter up, put her in a life jacket, put her in the front of the canoe, and we'd take off over into Dale Wayne's property. And it was like this when the water got up in it. So all of the treetops and stuff were green, and we're having to go through there at midnight. She'd hold the light and be doing real good for a while up there, and I could see where I was going, and all of a sudden it'd be like she was a coon hunter. She'd be looking around up in the trees, and I'd run her off in the bushes, and this and that. It was a lot of fun for her. It's real slack water down here. You could have, say, jumped off the porch and floated over here, but it would have taken you 2 or 3 minutes to get here.
Mm-hmm.
The very surface of it, probably about this deep, was moving along pretty good, but underneath it, it's just dead water.
We just came from Tower Rock, and water's doing some interesting things down there now. It's starting to try to swirl.
Yeah, usually the water, when it's up this high, don't have much of a whirlpool out there. It drops to another 4 or 5 foot. It'll get pretty good out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen in high water years where it would take these old cottonwood trees that are maybe 30 feet long, and get them in that whirlpool, and after a while they get so tight in there that if that butt end got down, it'd stand them up on end and pull them underneath. And from what I understand, where Burlington Railroad tracks are is where the big whirlpool used to be that would pull boats in and things like that. It was further than the one that you get out there now at the edge of that quarry. And at that time, a fella told me that they used to go down there when he was a kid, before they started quarrying all that out, and there was a bluff that ran out and then turned right there at the south end of Tower Rock. And he said it was only about 35, 40 feet wide there at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the bluff you were on was taller than Tower Rock. You could really kind of look down on top of it. And that was what made all of the sounds. People in Grand Tower said that sometimes it sounded like babies crying over there, screaming women, all sorts of other stuff. And, this has been a great place to live down here.